Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name, of course, is John Campea, and this is Open Mic, the all-open forum discussion show here on my YouTube channel. And, of course, on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we save time for viewer questions. But here on Open Mic, that's all we do is just all live open viewer questions. So, got to get ready. Oh, guys, I have a Sophie's Choice today. It's not a Sophie's Choice. I know what I have to do. But I have a very, very, very hard decision I had to make today. See, Sundays are our Dungeons and Dragons group nights. We play Dungeons and Dragons on Sunday nights, and a bunch of our friends come over, we play Dungeons and Dragons. But the Patriots game versus the Packers is tonight at roughly the same time that we start our D&D game, which means I got to skip out on watching the Patriots game tonight as they play the Packers. I mean, Brady he's the GOAT. Brady is the GOAT. But Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest of all time as well. And you get these two amazing quarterbacks playing against each other, and I can't watch it tonight. So I'll probably be playing the game, then every once in a while looking down at my phone, checking the score, see what I can see. But yeah, tough night for me, guys. Tough night. First world problems. All right. With that out of the way, let's get on to the live questions, because that's what today's show's all about. So let's get to it. And the first live question today comes to us from Folsom53, who writes, with Captain Marvel, Dumbo, Avengers 4, Aladdin, Toy Story 4, Lion King, Artemis Fowl, Frozen 2, Star Wars 9, could 2019 be Disney's biggest year yet box office-wise? Oh, it absolutely could. I mean, you'd have to be a fool not to acknowledge that at least there's a pretty damn good chance. I mean, this year has been great. I don't know, you've got Avengers 4, which is going to be 2019's version of Avengers 3. So there's that. The one problem, I was going to say, I don't know if you've got a Black Panther in there for 2019, but Aladdin could be your Black Panther. Toy Story 4 could be your Black Panther. Lion King could be your I don't know. Yeah, I'd say, look, I'm not willing to say right now that, yes, 2019 will be Disney's biggest year ever. I'm not ready to say that, but yeah, you'd have to be a little bit of silly to not at least acknowledge there's a pretty damn good chance that it could happen. There's a pretty damn good chance it could happen. So let's keep our eye. I mean, because look at that. Look at that lineup. Captain Marvel may be Artemis Fowl will probably be the lowest grossing one out of all those. But after that, Captain Marvel could very well be the lowest one after Artemis Fowl. Because Avengers 4 is going to make more. Aladdin will probably make more. Toy Story 4 will probably make more. Lion King will probably make more. Frozen 2 will probably make more. Star Wars Episode 9 will make more. The only other question there is Dumbo. Anyway, when you've got that list of movies and you're looking at a MCU movie like Captain Marvel and you're saying that could be one of the lowest grossing films they have that year, that's a pretty damn good year. So yeah, it's very much a strong possibility that could happen. All right, next question comes to us from Martin Voluic, who writes, John, how many movies do you own on Google Play? Oh, God, I don't know. So far, I've got 56 digital movies. Each week, they have deals for different movies. That's why I buy them. Yeah, you know what? I honestly don't. Here's a little funny thing about my buying habits. There's some people, a lot of people, when there's a movie that they like, they look at the calendar, and as soon as that movie becomes available, they buy it. I'm not one of those people. When Avengers Infinity War came out on digital, I didn't buy it right away. I bought it when I was ready to sit down and watch it. And that's when I bought it, right? So if I'm not ready to watch it, if I don't have opportunity to sit down and watch a movie that's coming out on streaming that I want to see, if I don't have time to watch it till a month or 2 months after it comes out, well, then I'm going to wait a month or 2 months. My buying habits are I buy it when I'm ready to sit down and watch it. So that's what Ann and I generally do too. So when Ann and I feel like watching a movie, I never owned Office Space. I've seen it a million times, but I've never owned it. But then when Ann told me she hadn't watched it and we planned to set aside a night, sit down and watch Office Space so she could watch it for the first time, this was a few weeks ago, well, that's when I bought it. And so that's kind of my buying habit. As soon as I'm ready to sit down and watch a movie, that's when I just buy it. Unless it's a movie I know I'll probably never watch again, then I'll rent it. But for the most part, I just buy it. So I've always got it. So how many movies I have in my Google Play Store, I just don't know. I don't know. It's a bunch. It's a bunch, I know that, but I honestly couldn't give you a number on that, to be honest with you. But 56 is a good number, man. 56 is a good number. And waiting to find them being on special, that's also good consumer intelligence on your part. That's intelligent consumer behavior. I don't have such intelligent consumer behavior. I just like, I feel like watching now, buy, whether it's full price or not, right? So you probably have a better way of doing it than me, but that's kind of my buying habits. All right. Daryl Best Wadley writes, "Hey John, your show is great." Thank you so much, Daryl. Do you think Avengers 4 will have a funny moment when somebody yells, "Hey Cap," and both Steve and Captain Marvel answer? I don't know, because here's the thing. Keep this in mind about the MCU. Have we ever heard Scarlet Witch referred to as Scarlet Witch? I've got it in my head that maybe at some point somebody referred to her as the witch. But honestly, and maybe we have, and I'm just not thinking of the moment. And maybe it's just, it's out of my head right now. But have we ever had a moment when Elizabeth Olsen has been called Scarlet Witch in the MCU? We know her as Scarlet Witch. But has she ever been called Scarlet Witch? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's true. And with Captain Marvel, that could also be the case. I mean, will she be called Captain Marvel? I don't know. So we have to kind of answer that question first, because there are other things you could call them, but we have to answer that question first. And if we see Captain Marvel and her regular referred to name is Captain Marvel, excuse me, Captain Marvel, if that's what she's referred to as, then a joke like that could set up well in something like an Avengers 4. That could set up well. If she's not, though, and she's just referred to as Danvers all the time, and we as the audience know her as Captain Marvel, but she's just referred to as Danvers, then maybe not, right? So I just kind of have to wait and see how that plays out, but it could set up for a decent joke. All right, Martin Volek follows up with, Eddie plus symbiote equals Venom, but in the movie, symbiote alone is Venom. So what's the point of we are Venom? That's so stupid, it really pisses me off. Honestly, Martin, I think you're getting caught up in semantics. One of the things I learned a long time ago is don't sweat semantics. Don't sweat semantics. Don't worry about semantics. Don't let semantics get under your skin. But you are right. Like, in the movie, which I enjoyed quite a bit, the symbiote's name is Venom. Like, that's the name of the symbiote. And yet, in the movie, they also say, when they're combined, we are Venom. Right? Is that an inconsistency? Sure. Is it important? No. It's not. It's just it's a semantic issue. And I've learned, like I said a long time ago, don't sweat semantic issues. Especially if those semantic issues don't cause wider reaching problems. And these don't cause any wider reaching problems. So it didn't bother me at all. Together, they are Venom. Yes, the symbiote was known as Venom before that as an individual anyway, but whatever, semantics. We are Venom. So, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. I would just say don't sweat it, dude, because it is just a semantic issue, so I wouldn't worry about it. All right. Steven C20 writes, over under 50%, we see another Soups movie by the end of 2022. Under. Well under. That would mean they have to be have the gears in motion for a new Superman movie probably by the end of, I'm not saying it has to be in front of the cameras, but they have to have a new Superman movie in motion probably by the end of 2019. And the way things are right now, I don't see that happening. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's only a 5% chance or anything, but if you're going to set the line at 50%, I'll take the under at 50%. I think the chances are closer to like a 25. Between 20 and 25. That's where I would set the line myself. 50 is too high for me, so if you're going to set the line at 50%, I will take under 50% that we get another Superman movie by the end of 2022. All right. Rufino Salazar Jr. writes, hey, John, my wife isn't a big fan of sci-fi movies. Where should I start to get her into sci-fi help? Ooh, that's a tough one, Rufino. That's a tough one. Because if your wife doesn't like sci-fi movies, she just may not like sci-fi movies. Hey, look, all film is subjective. There are certain types of movies that we like. There are certain types of movies we don't like. I would suggest if your wife doesn't like sci-fi movies, you might just have to grin and bear it and accept that she doesn't like sci-fi movies. I mean, you might just have to accept it. So, but if you wanted to try to baby step her into it, to see if maybe the case with your wife is she just hasn't seen the right sci-fi movies yet. Okay, that might be possible, sure. But it's like, for me, I don't like country music. I'm not saying country music is crap. I'm not saying you're dumb if you like it. No. I'm just saying country music is not for me. I don't like country music. So to say to me, well, where should we start off, John, in country music? No. Time out. You didn't hear me. I don't like country music. There is no starting me off with certain country music. And it doesn't mean I reject all country music just because it's country music, but I'm just telling you, in general, I do not like country music. I'm not saying there's never been a country song that I don't enjoy. Kenny Rogers for the win. But, I mean, I'm just generally speaking, I'm not a fan of country music. That's all. So to come to me and say, well, we just need to find the right country music to get you eased in. No. That's a little bit insulting. I told you I'm not into country music. So transfer that principle to your wife. I mean, if your wife isn't into sci-fi, maybe she's just not into sci-fi. But okay, let's say for argument's sake, she is one of those individuals that just never really gave it a chance. Maybe she just never gave sci-fi a chance. Obviously, what I'm going to say is the films that got me into my love affair with sci-fi movies, and that's obviously Star Wars. Star Wars is what got me into sci-fi movies. So that's where I would probably start. But again, just brace yourself, my friend, that you just may be in a situation where your wife just doesn't like sci-fi movies, and that's okay. That's okay. Don't waste too much of your time trying to figure out a way to make her get into sci-fi movies. Just try to find some ones that have good, broad entertainment appeal. You know what I mean? Like, don't start her off with, Kubrick, for example. Right? Don't start off with that. Look for something that has wide base entertainment value that a lot of people enjoy, and start off with stuff like that and see where you go from there. That's why I think Star Wars is a good starting point, but that's just me. All right. History Soup writes, will Flash recast Joe with Jesse L. Martin's injury? Oh, I didn't even know Jesse L. Martin had an injury. Hold a second. Now I'm all worried. I love Jesse L. Martin. Hold a second. Hold on a second. Yeah, what's going on here? Oh, I didn't even hear that. It's all over the news. Jesse L. Martin taking a leave of absence from, he's on medical leave. Hold on a second. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be looking this up now, but I got to know what's going on. Let's see. It seems the blind spot. Jamie Alexander. Martin has been sitting down. All his scenes are occasionally injured. No, you're not crazy. But perceptive. Okay, this is great. The question came in. My husband and I watched The Flash, and we've noticed that Jesse L. Martin has been sitting down in all of his scenes. You know what? I never noticed that, but now that you mention it, now that I think about it, he's been sitting down in all of his scenes. Are we crazy or is he injured? No, the answer is no, you are not crazy, but perceptive. Though this week we did see Joe leaning in a doorway at the CCPD. I'm hearing that Jesse suffered a back injury over the hiatus. In fact, a studio rep confirms for TV Line that the actor will be taking a medical leave from the CW hit, adding, we wish him a full and speedy recovery and look forward to his return as Detective Joe West. It's unclear at this time exactly when and for how long Joe's absence will be felt on screen, but sources tell me it will be addressed at some point. Okay, well, I never even knew this. Damn, get well soon, Jesse L. Martin. It's funny because just the other day we were talking about the Rent movie, and Jesse L. Martin, of course, is in there. From what I'm reading here, it sounds like there's no need to replace him. If you're going to be addressing his absence, that probably just means, oh yeah, Joe went to go see so-and-so in New York for a while. That's all you have to do. And it doesn't sound like he's going to be gone for all that long. So I'm guessing they will not recast Joe. It doesn't sound like there's a need to recast him. He'll be gone for a couple of episodes, and then he'll be back. So it's probably not that big of a deal. Thanks for bringing that up, History Soup. I didn't even know about that. Factual Opinion writes, audiobooks are better than ebooks, are better than physical books. I don't know about that. It depends. It depends on your situation. Very few things beat a real book. I love reading real books, but quite often I don't have time to sit down and read books. I mean, I don't even have time to keep up on my TV shows. So what I started getting into the habit of doing a few years ago was going to audiobooks because I'm on the treadmill, I drive, so I've got lots of opportunities that, I'm going to be on the treadmill anyway, might as well get caught up on a book. I'm driving, a half hour each way to work. There's an hour a day I can listen to this book. Audiobooks are incredibly convenient and they help fit with the lifestyle that you may have. I, though, gotta say, I find I retain more when I'm actually reading a book. When I'm actually reading a book, I tend to retain more. So I don't know that audiobooks are better than ebooks are better than physical books. Honestly, I might say, no, physical books are still the best way to consume books, I believe. But it just all depends on your lifestyle situation. If you don't have any time to sit down and read a book, which is unfortunate that we live in an era where we don't have time to sit down and read a book. But if that's the case, then audiobooks are very convenient because you consume those books while you're doing other things, which also lends to the problem of less retention, but it's better than nothing. So audiobooks are very convenient. I love audiobooks. I've got my Audible app on my phone that gets a lot of use, man. A lot of use. Actually, the book I'm listening to right now is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm actually listening to that one right now. I remember I read that about 10 years ago, but I didn't even finish it. Like I just skimmed a lot of that book, and I thought, you know what? I enjoyed it. All my friends really love it, so I went and picked it up again on Audible, and I'm getting through it right now, and I'm having a great time that I don't have time to sit down and listen to, or sit down and read physically. But I'm in my car for an hour every day. I'm on my treadmill for a half hour to 45 minutes every day. So there's a bunch of time I can get through audiobooks. So generally speaking, I think physical books are best. But depending on your circumstances, audiobooks can be much, much more convenient. So anyway, there's that. Aiden Haspel writes, gotta say Bohemian Rhapsody was amazing. The performances, spectacular. That Live Aid performance was insane. No wonder it went down in history. Yeah, I really enjoyed Bohemian Rhapsody. I liked it a lot. I had a great time with it. I think it is a finely made movie. Really well-made movie. And I know there are some people who just don't like Bryan Singer and they wanted to dismiss the movie just because Bryan Singer directed it. That's fine, whatever. I thought it was a really good film. I thought the character work was wonderfully done. I thought the pacing of the film was near perfect. Near perfect pacing. I never once in that movie felt like it hit slow parts or that it started to drag or anything like that. I felt it had a wonderful pace and a great payoff at the end. So yeah, I thought it was great. So, hey, look, all film's subjective. There are people who don't like the film, and that's totally fine. But I'm completely with you, Aiden. I love the film. I thought it was great. Robert Perez writes, how about them Los Angeles Rams? Have a good one. Yeah, and they've got their hands full today, my friends. They're playing the New Orleans Saints, who are 7-1, with also one of the great... By the way, we are living in an era where we are seeing 3 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time playing right now. In Tom Brady, who is the GOAT, you got Aaron Rodgers, and you got Drew Brees, who's breaking records left, right, and center. I mean, oh my God, it is a great time to be a football fan. Just a great time to be a football fan. And yes, the Rams are doing great, man. The only undefeated team left in the NFL. Marcus Robert Johnson writes, if we gave the money we give to entertainment to education, we would be living on Mars by now. Well, not quite. Over or under 35%. Keep up the great. Well, I will take the under on that. I will take the under. We actually don't spend that much. Here's the funny thing, though. I remember once, I was talking to a friend about this, and I'm not getting into politics here, so don't worry. But there is a common sense principle here. You know, I remember once there was this, the president of France was talking, because in France, you don't have to pay for education in France. And I remember once, and there's a bunch of countries like that. I mean, the United States of America is one of the most expensive places in the world to get an education. But I'll never forget, it was a number of years ago, but they were talking to the France's leader, and they just said, We believe it is in the nation's best interest to have an educated population. It's like, of course that's true. Of course that's true. We believe it is in the nation's best interests to have an educated population. Yeah, obviously. So, I mean, yeah, it does kind of, it is a little bit of a crime that education is a massive for-profit thing here, the same as healthcare, but whatever. Again, I don't want to get into politics here, but even at the end of the day, though, when you think about how huge like entertainment is, and entertainment can be anything from the movies to music and all that kind of stuff. I mean, art is also important to culture. But if we spent that money, but remember, in the grand scheme of things, like the movie, I think the all-time record for box office in a year is like 9 billion or 12 billion or something like that. I mean, that's actually kind of a drop in the bucket when you think about a national, the gross national product, right? So I don't know. I'll take the under on 35% on that. Matthew Williams writes, why did Fisk go after the Albanians? Did I miss it? I think my guess in that, you know what, Matthew, can't answer that because me giving that answer could be considered a spoiler, and I'm sure there's a bunch of people that haven't watched Daredevil Season 3 yet. Fair question, but that's a question that should have come up on the Daredevil Season 3 spoiler review we did the other day. So, I want to answer it, but I can't. Sorry about that, Matthew. James Welsh writes, when Fisk talks to the Holocaust survivor, chills. Absolutely. I can't talk much about it because that would be a spoiler. But yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal to hear that at some point in the season, Fisk talks to a Holocaust survivor. That doesn't really give anything away. But me talking about the scene in depth would give too much away, so I don't want to do that. Robert Perez writes, I would really enjoy watching a Star Wars movie with other members of this community and you hosting, maybe a little discussion afterwards. That could be fun, but the problem is it's not practical. It's not practical because you'd have to be, okay, guys, because doing it live, it's one thing to do it pre-recorded because it's much easier pre-recorded. Doing it live, okay, everybody ready? Okay, we're gonna hit start button right now, and everybody hits the start button right at the right point. And unless you're doing that, you can't actually watch it together. Like when I do something like that for the Oscar streaming, well, it's easy because the Oscars are just streaming live. We're all watching it. But to do that with the Star Wars movie, not so much. So yeah, I mean, what would it be easier to do is to do what I wanted to do a while ago, which was a movie club, right? I wanted to do a movie club where the idea was, remember, we had it all set up and everything, but we just weren't ever able to do it. Like this week, our movie club movie is Gladiator. So now you've got all week to watch Gladiator. And then on Sunday, or whatever day we were going to do it, we'd have our movie club where we do it kind of like a spoiler discussion for like we did for just Daredevil Season 3. It would be like a spoiler discussion video where we now all get together on Sunday or Monday and we have movie club. Okay, you had all week to watch Gladiator. Now we get together and we just talk in depth about Gladiator. I always wanted to do that. We had planned to do it, but just never had the time. Just never had the time. And I think maybe it's something I should look into doing again because I love the idea of it. Maybe make it a Patreon thing. Maybe we'll do it with Patreon supporters. We'll say, hey guys, every Saturday afternoon movie club for the Patreon supporters. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. I'll think of something, but I love the notion of it. But I just don't think it's practical that we can watch the movie together because I can't stream the movie because that would be illegal. That's copyright infringement. So you'd all have to be sitting at home at the exact right moment and all hitting play at the same time. But a movie club idea is something I wanted to do before. Maybe I should look at doing again. All right. George Costanza writes, all right, that's it for me. Good night, everybody. I knew I had hit my high note, so I thanked the crowd and I was gone. Is that the Jesus Fish episode? I think that's the Jesus Fish episode. I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's from the Jesus Fish episode. I'm not sure, but you might get me on that one. Big Easy 1980 writes, hey, John, love your work. Thank you so much, Big Easy. Have you checked out the movie The Hate You Give? Pretty good. Yes, I did. And it is, I'd say it's a little bit better than pretty good. I don't think it's a Best Picture nominee. I don't think it's a Best Picture contender, although the way some people are talking about it, you would think it is. But I thought it was very good. What's the lead girl's name? I think her name's Amanda something. She was great. This young girl, she was great. Anthony Mackie was great. Regina Hall was great. Common was great. Strong performance throughout. I think it's a strong movie. And there are some people losing their mind over it. I'm not, but I think it's a strong film. I enjoyed it. If you get a chance, you should definitely check it out. All right. Gabriel Reed writes, currently pursuing a degree in filmmaking, Los Angeles Film School. Oh, congratulations. I used to live like right across the street from the Los Angeles Film School. It's kind of crazy. I want to write and direct. Huge fan, and I learned something new from you every day. Thanks. Oh, well, thank you so much, Gabriel, and good luck, man. Congratulations on actually pursuing it and doing something about it. Everybody talks about it, but few actually put their money where their mouth is and get off their butts and do something about it. You're doing something practical to pursue it. I applaud you, sir, and good luck in your endeavors, man. Thanks for sharing that. All right. Ben Rayner writes, I know you're not a fan of Supergirl. No, I'm not. But did you watch last week's? It was all about Sam Witwer's character. He was great, and he instantly became my favorite of Supergirl villains. I have not. I haven't watched a single episode of Supergirl this season, although I do plan on it because Sam's in it. Sam Witwer, everybody. You know, the guy who aspires to be as good as me at Star Wars trivia. He's 0-2 against me in Star Wars trivia, just mentioning. But he's amazing. He's so cool. I just like Sam Witwer a lot. I really do. I play online sometimes like I don't, just out of fun, but he's great. And he's one of the most wonderful, charming dudes in person. He's just a top-notch dude. And so even though I do not like Supergirl, I do I do plan, I should say, on watching this season simply because Sam Witwer's in it. That's the only reason I'm going to watch it, is because Sam Witwer's in it. That's what I'm going to give a chance. And you know what's funny? So Sam, you guys might have seen me promoting recently. I've been pimping out this book called Dungeons and Dragons, Art and Arcana. And it's about the history, the art history, and the development history of Dungeons and Dragons. And Kyle Newman, who I had in my studio the other day, but Sam Witwer is also one of the authors. Anyway, Ann and I decided to support the guys by going down to this book launch party that they had. So they invited us down, and we go to this book launch party. And Ann, who's the game master in our game, Ann decides, when they come to the question and answer part, Ann decides to ask a question, right? And Ann's question was something along the lines of, hey, you know what? I'm a new dungeon master. I just started dungeon mastering our home game, blah, blah, blah. And, but my husband is playing too. How should I handle my husband's character? And Sam Witwer goes, he looks at her and he points at me and goes, you kill his character. And like, Sam, just kill his character. So anyway, we had some fun with that. But no, I haven't seen it yet, but I am planning on checking it out only because Sam, but I'm not expecting to like it, but I will probably like Sam's performance in it because Sam's great. All right. Ricardo Ramirez writes, iOS or Android? Which one do you like the most? Oh, that's easy. Android. Android is by far superior, in my opinion. Now, I used to be an iPhone guy. I carried around an iPhone. An iPhone was my daily driver for a long time. And I am a Mac guy, by the way. I love my Macs. I mean, I got my, I lost my power thing, but I got my MacBook right here monitoring there. Oh, that's today's show. We're in the Matrix. I monitor, there's about a 30-second delay, but this is my MacBook. I monitor the live stream there. That was the live stream as you guys see it. Gotta plug it back in. I'm a Mac guy. I am a Mac guy. I prefer Macs. My main desktop PC right now is a PC because I got a great deal on it, but honestly, my preference is Macs. That's my preference. Although PCs can be great too. And I used to carry around an iPhone. To me, I just got too frustrated with them. They're fragile little things. I just really prefer Android. And so for the last couple of years, my daily driver has been an Android. My current daily driver is the older version. It's the Note 8. The Note 9 is now out. And right now I'm just kind of agonizing over the decision about whether to get the new Note 9 or to get the Google Pixel 3. I'm kind of trying to decide between the two, but yes, I am now an Android guy, despite being a Mac guy in general, and despite having once carried around an iPhone. Rami J. Royster writes, thought the Nutcracker in Four Realms was okay. The story and some of the characters were a bit bland. It's a beautiful looking movie, though. I mean, I got that right away from the trailer. It's a beautiful looking movie. Visually, it looks gorgeous. But I'll be honest with you, I took a pass on it. I took a pass on the movie. And the main reason I took a pass on it, despite the fact, and I'm a big fan of Disney, you know I am, but I did not think the trailers looked all that great. But where I really decided not to bother watching it is when Disney made the decision to hold the review embargo until the day before the movie came out. That, to me, told me they didn't believe in the film. So, the trailers didn't look any good to me. I didn't hear any very good buzz about it. And then Disney kind of shouted, "We don't believe in this movie." And then they held off the review embargo till the day before it opened. So I'm just like, well, okay. If you don't believe in it, why should I believe in it? So I took a pass on it. So I'm glad to hear you saw it, Rami. I'm glad you believe it didn't suck. That's great. But yeah, I decided to take a pass on it. What I am not going to take a pass on that's coming up next for Disney, though, is Wreck-It Ralph 2. Ralph Breaks the Internet. That I am dying to see. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to be seeing that. As a matter of fact, I think Ann and I are going to go to the premiere on Monday night. Ann and I are going to go to the premiere of Wreck-It Ralph on Monday. Let's see. Sharan Aurora writes, I loved BR. Well, you either mean Battle Royale or you mean Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm going to assume you mean Bohemian Rhapsody. I love Bohemian Rhapsody. I was singing the songs throughout. I really enjoy the movie. I thought it was wonderful. And I'm not even a big Queen fan. The funny thing is, though, after I came out of the movie, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm a big Queen fan. I'm a big Queen fan because you realize, oh my gosh, that's right. They did that song and they did that song. I did not go into Bohemian Rhapsody as a pre-existing huge Queen fan, but I came out a huge Queen fan. That tells you something about the movie. So I really enjoyed it as well, Sharon. All right. Michael Jones. Oops, took a bit of a jump. There we go. Michael Jones writes, saw Beautiful Boy last night, really good movie. Finished all 9 seasons of The Office, my favorite sitcom now. Love Michael coming back for the Dwight wedding. I can't believe he came, that's what she said. Yeah, here's the thing about the series finale of The Office. You had Michael come back, which you had to. You have to have Michael come back for the finale. But he only had one line. Or at least one scene. He only had one scene that he spoke in. You see him in a bunch of scenes, but he's just there. It's almost like they made an agreement. Okay, I'll come and be in it. It's almost like Steve Carell said, and I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm just saying. It felt like Steve Carell went, yeah, okay, I'll come and be in the finale, but I'm not going to speak any lines. Oh, okay, I'll do one line. It just felt like you've got Steve Carell back for an episode. Make him a pivotal part of the series finale. And he wasn't. And I love The Office, but that to me has always not felt right. Because that whole show was built around the Michael Scott character for most of its existence. And then you bring him back for the series finale and you give him a little cameo? Come on. That frustrated me a bit. That did frustrate me a bit, I gotta say. But overall, I can't think of an episode of The Office that I don't love. There are 2 shows, The Office and Parks and Rec, that Ann and I can literally play roulette. We can play Hulu roulette. Because, we'll just bring up the series and then click, 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 like go the up, down button, closing our eyes, and then just pick one. And we know we're going to love no matter what episode it falls on. And there are 2 shows that do that for me, Parks and Rec and The Office. And they are both immortal to me in that way. So I'm impressed you got through the whole thing, Michael. And yeah, I love that show. John DeBenedict writes, hey, John, watched your Daredevil spoiler discussion after the fact. See where you're coming from with episode 10, but it didn't bother me much. Great season. Again, since this is not the spoiler discussion for for Daredevil, I can't go into it too much. I will say this, because I tweeted about this anyway. Episode 10, I'm not going to tell you what actually happens in terms of the narrative, but the majority of that episode is a big flashback for the Karen character. Of course, she's the blonde, right? She's in all the... She was in Punisher. Anyway, it's a big flashback episode for the Karen character going back to her past. Totally pointless to the story. It was well done, but it was completely pointless to the story, and it killed the momentum the series had going up until that point. Now, fortunately, it found its momentum again. I just thought that was the one really bad decision they made for that season. So I won't say anything else. But I mean, it's well done. It's just something that should have been in Daredevil Season 1, not in Daredevil Season 3, when it absolutely made no practical application to the ongoing narrative at the moment. So I just thought that was a poor decision. But that was just me, John. All right. Chris Bond writes, let's see. Just watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Good Will Hunting for the... Oh, those are two films that are good to watch for the first time, man. I love those movies. For the first time, can't believe I waited so long to watch these. Jim Carrey and Robin Williams were amazing, respectively. You know, the thing is, yes, Jim Carrey is amazing. It's an amazing film. When we talk about Good Will Hunting, that's the one that Robin Williams finally won his Academy Award. I believe Robin Williams won his Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Good Will Hunting. He could have won one for Good Morning Vietnam, but unfortunately that was the same year that Michael Douglas was nominated for Best Actor for Wall Street, and ain't nobody was going to beat Michael Douglas that year. So that was too bad for Robin Williams. And I think he was... What was he also nominated for? I think he was also nominated for... Oh, Captain, My Captain, Dead Poets Society. I think he was nominated for Dead Poets Society. I'm not 100% sure what I think. But anyway, he won his Academy Award for Good Will Hunting. So understandably, when a lot of us talk about Good Will Hunting, we go right to Robin Williams. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were both fantastic in that movie. They were fantastic in that movie. And yeah, they're great. Again, it's totally understandable that our mind goes right to Robin Williams because he's Robin Williams and he won his Academy Award for that. But I thought everybody in that movie was great. I thought everyone in that movie was great. So anyway, that's just me. Santez Henderson writes, bummed I missed your Daredevil spoiler talk. Well, I mean, it's online though. You can watch it. It's there. Just go on my YouTube channel, go under reviews, and the Daredevil spoiler discussion and review is right there. I mean, you couldn't participate live, but it's right there. You can go check it out right now, Santez. John D'Amato writes, man, John Campea, you were right about Bohemian Rhapsody. Great movie. I know it's not in your top 10 of the year, but it is in mine. Yeah, and again, it might be in my top 10 right now. Like if I were to sit down, I haven't done this, but if I were to sit down and construct a top 10 list of 2018 so far, Bohemian Rhapsody might make it in the 9 or 10 spot right now. I'm not sure about that. I do not suspect it will, even if it was so, I don't suspect it would still be in that top 10 by the end of the year. But I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I had a really good time with it. I smiled, I laughed, I would tap my foot through the songs. I just thought it was a wonderful ride of a movie. I thought it was a wonderful ride of a movie, and I had a great time with it. Let's see. Angry Irish Benjamin writes, even after all this time, Tony still has you picking up the dry cleaning. I do anything and everything Mr. Stark requires, including occasionally taking out the trash. Will that be all? Sick burn. Yes, that was a sick burn. And the woman that Pepper was talking to is Sam Rockwell's wife. Leslie Bibb, that's her name. So that scene had, who plays Pepper? Why am I freezing on her name? Gwyneth Paltrow. Between Gwyneth Paltrow and I believe that was Leslie Bibb. And Leslie Bibb, who had just a very small role in that movie, she went on to marry Sam Rockwell. I don't think they were married yet at the time. They might have been, but I don't think they were. But then she went on to marry Sam Rockwell, who of course was in an Iron Man movie as well. So the two of them got married. There's a little bit of trivia for you there with that one cool little quote, but that was a sick burn. Let's see. Angel Chang writes, bro, did you ever get your PS4 Target B Friday, Black Friday, $200. Nope, never did. Still never got it. Here's my problem. So a big PS4 game comes out, and I think, okay, maybe I'll get a PS4. Like, for instance, God of War came out, right? Not so long ago. And I'm like, oh man, this game looks so good. Okay, I'm going to buy a PS4. And then I didn't. And then the Spider-Man game comes out. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, I got to get a PS4. And then I didn't. Now Red Dead Redemption 2 is out. I'm thinking, I got to get myself that console. Probably go get a PS4. And I didn't. Here's the main problem. I don't play games on consoles. To me, I cannot wire my brain to use a controller for games. I just can't. I am far more comfortable with a mouse and a keyboard. That's how I like to play my games. So I play a lot of games, but I play them all on PC. And whenever I've tried to play a console game, I usually get frustrated within about 5 or 10 minutes because my head isn't wired for the controller with 2 joysticks and all. That's not the way my brain's wired. My brain is wired for a keyboard and a mouse. So I keep telling myself, Red Dead looks great. I'm going to go get a PS4. That Spider-Man game looks great. I'm going to go get a PS4. God of War looks amazing. I'm going to go get a PS4. And I never do. At this point, I think I'm just lying to myself. Because the problem is, like, for instance, I was thinking last night, because Anne went to Corona last night to hang out with Ray. And I had the night here because I was doing a bunch of work. And I got the UFC on. And I'm thinking, you know what? I should run over to Best Buy. Now's a good time for me to run over to Best Buy and buy that PS4. But then I instantly think, but what's going to happen? I'm going to drop $300. I'm going to play the game for 5 minutes, whatever game I get. I'm going to get frustrated, and I'm going to throw the controller down, and I'm never going to touch it again. And then it's going to be a $300 paperweight. So I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll get one. I just don't know. The One writes, Brady versus Rodgers tonight. Excited? Oh, very excited. And I'll tell you what, guys. I mean, New England, particularly their deep ball defense, is not great. Their deep ball defense is not great. Aaron Rodgers is going to tear them up. The only question will be, can Tom Brady also tear up Green Bay's defense? I'm not sure. Their deep ball defense is better than New England's deep ball defense. So it's going to be a rough go for the Patriots tonight, man. I think the Patriots defense is the exact kind of defense that Aaron Rodgers can shine against. So I think it's going to be a long night. I think the game's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. But I do think it's going to be a long night for New England Patriot fans, and particularly the New England defense. I think it's going to be a long night because I believe they are tailor-made for a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers to pick apart. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to pick the New England defense apart. I think Tom Brady is going to inflict a lot of damage, but I don't think the Green Bay defense is as susceptible to a Tom Brady as the New England defense is to an Aaron Rodgers. So, but yeah, man, it's going to be a great game, but I can't watch it. I can't watch it because it's Dungeons and Dragons night tonight. So, yeah, there we go. All right. Javier Riaz 405 writes, should I download YouTube TV subscription? Well, I mean, it all depends. I'm a cord cutter, right? So I've been a cord cutter for like 7 years. I haven't had a cable subscription in years. So I've been using various things, whether it's, just Netflix or Hulu. Now Hulu has live TV. I've used that. I've used Sling TV. I use DirecTV Now. I'm currently using YouTube TV, and I'm a big fan of it. I do like YouTube. I've liked all the services I've used, to be honest with you. YouTube TV is pretty good. So if you are looking to cut the cord, all I can say is that, I've been very happy with YouTube TV. I've been very happy with it. So maybe you give it a shot too. Maybe you play around with one or two of the other ones. Most of the services have like a try for 2 weeks or try for 30 days, right? Give a couple of the services a chance. See which one kind of fits you best and go with that one. But all I can say is that I do use YouTube TV currently, and I am a fan of it. I do like it. Sebastian writes, please tell me why Mojo is behind come score results. I don't know what you're talking about, Sebastian. Sorry about that. You also skipped my question on Sinemia, hard to use fees. I don't know what question we're talking about, but I will say this. Oh, no, wait a minute. I remember I answered a question about Sinemia being difficult to use. I did answer that question. I talked about it myself that, even when I was doing reviews and comparison videos of, say, MoviePass compared to Sinemia, when MoviePass used to still be a real thing. Anyway, this is going back. But even then I was saying, while I preferred Sinemia, the reality is the user interface of MoviePass was a lot simpler to navigate. The Sinemia, I am a fan of Sinemia, but their UI, their user interface can be very convoluted and can be confusing sometimes. It can. And how hard can it be just to create a nice, clean, simple to use user interface? It can't be that difficult. MoviePass's app was, despite all of MoviePass's infinite number of flaws, you got to give it to them. Their user interface using their app was simple and easy and intuitive. Sinemia's not so much. It's not like you need a science degree in order to be able to use it, but it's nowhere near as intuitive to use as the MoviePass app was. And that is one of the big drawbacks. I'm not quite sure what we're talking about with fees, but as far as hard to use, I don't know that I'd say it's hard to use, but it's definitely significantly more difficult to use than, say, the MoviePass one was. For sure, absolutely. ZOMG Ruler writes, over under 30% Justice League 2 gets released in 2023 if DCEU is healthy. I don't know. They seem to be moving away from that stuff. They seem to be moving away from it, so I'm going to take the under on 30% on that. The Dr. 13's Blu-ray Reviews writes, I bought the Marvel Legends series finally, Gauntlet from Forbidden Planet, and love it. I don't know what the Marvel's Legends series is, but it sounds exciting. You know what? I'm going to look it up here quick. Marvel's Legends series. I don't know what it is. Oh, these are figures. Okay. Infinity Gauntlet from Forbidden Planet, and I love it. Well, awesome. I got to see it. I don't know if I have it. Unless that's the Gauntlet that I have, which I don't know, because I don't know what Marvel Legends series is, so I'll have to check that out. But good on you. Share a picture if you have a chance. Sebastian writes, you made great points on critics versus audience. Thanks. Well, thank you, Sebastian. I trust I always make good points. Not really, but I hope I do. I wish I knew which critics versus audience comments I was talking about, though. I can't remember. But thank you for sharing your thoughts on that, man. I appreciate that. Stella McShave writes, are you planning on listening to the... I don't know what WT is. Sorry. Guys, I ask you all the time, please don't use abbreviations because I may not know what we're talking about. So sorry about that, Stubble. ZMG Ruler writes, will your DCEU reviews all be considered fresh on Rotten Tomatoes? Yeah, they would be. If I was manually putting them in, they would be considered, because I've liked all of them. I acknowledge a lot of them, particularly movies like Suicide Squad was a hot mess. It had a lot of problems, but I'm one of those film fans that I felt like the good stuff in it outweighed the bad, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, they would all be fresh from me if I were to put them in manually. Red Cap writes, next year, CW 7 Mandalorian Episode 9. I don't know what CW7 is. Mandalorian, Episode 9, Jedi Fallen Order next year is going to be epic. I'm sorry, Rick. I don't know what it is you're trying to say. Your thoughts are kind of all over the place there, man. Sorry. Marie Seifering writes, It Chapter 2 wrap filming. Are you excited to see it? Yeah, I am. I had such a good time. That It movie, when they first announced it, I wasn't against it per se, but not a lot of excitement either. And then the trailer started to come out. It's like, this looks really fun. And then I saw the movie and it exceeded my expectations. And I think it exceeded a lot of people's expectations. I don't know that expectations were very high for it coming out And then we all saw it, and like I said, it exceeded a lot of expectations. A lot of people really liked that movie for very good reason. And yeah, this time around, it's different for me, Marie, than the last time, because now I do have high expectations, and I am excited for it. So let's hope it turns out great. Javier Riaz 405 writes, just watch Daredevil with Affleck, the director's cut. It's pretty good. Hey, look, I am unapologetic about this. I really like that Daredevil movie. And I would say this, I've said this before, some of you may have heard me say this before. If you take out that god-awful teeter-totter scene in the playground between Elektra and Daredevil, you take that out of the movie, I think it's a great movie. I think Daredevil is a great movie if you take that scene out. But that scene is so bad, it demotes it for me from being a truly great movie to being a really good movie. I like that Daredevil movie a lot. I'm unapologetic about it. I have never changed my stance on that. I like that movie, and I know a lot of you guys don't. That's fine, but I'm not going to apologize for liking that movie because I think it's really good. Let's see. Where we go? Had another jump. Okay, guys, I'm going to ask you to not send in, and please don't send in any more super chats, because I'm going to try to get through all the ones that have been sent in so far, and then we're going to wrap it up and call it a day. Let's see. Javier Riaz 405 writes, in your opinion, what's an overrated superhero movie? I mean, I don't know. Like, when you say overrated, like, too many people don't understand what overrated means. Too many people think overrated means the movie's bad. No, that's not true. You can think a movie's really good and yet still be overrated. What's a superhero movie I think is overrated? Man. Dark Knight Rises. I still think Dark Knight Rises is good. But I think it's easily the worst of the Christopher Nolan Batman films. I thought it was a huge step down from The Dark Knight. But I like it. I think it's good. It gets a thumbs up from me, but I do think that one's an overrated one. Sarat writes, am I the only one who actually liked Netflix's How It Ends? I thought not knowing what actually happened was the point of the movie. If that's the point of the movie, you've got a bad point. If the point of your story was that, then you started off with the wrong point to your story. I just thought everything was wrong with it. I was just never into it. I watched the whole damn thing. I mean, you got Forrest Whitaker in there. I just found nothing redeeming about it. Including the fact that you don't even tell people what's going on in the world. That's not the point. Really? I had to sit through an hour and a half or 2 hours of that movie just to find out that we'd never find out what's actually going on? That's your point? Your point was just to waste 2 hours of my time? I don't know. But hey, listen, if you liked it, that's great. All entertainment's subjective. And if it hit the right chords for you and it pressed the right buttons for you, that's great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. For me, it was just, it felt like a bunch of random things thrown on screen. None of it was particularly compelling. I just wish I liked it, but because I love Forrest Whitaker, so I wish I liked it, but I just found nothing about it to enjoy. But that's just me. That doesn't mean you're not supposed to like it. If you liked it, that's great. All right. Next one comes to us from Ryan Hill, who writes, hey, John, who is your favorite Game of Thrones character? Mine is Jaime Lannister. His arc is simply incredible. Oh, that's easy. Peter Dinklage. Tywin Lannister is easily my favorite. I drink and I know things. I mean, he's just always the most profound character. And also the character that you would expect the least from because of his stature, right? In a show about warriors and fighting and dragons and war and battle, you've got Peter Dinklage. And yet he is the deepest, most profound, maybe the most dangerous character in all of it. I know that's stereotypical. I know a lot of people will say Tywin Lannister, but to me, that's my favorite dude. I can just watch him all day. So yeah, that's mine. I mean, you definitely can't be wrong. Jaime has an incredible story arc through it. But I really think one of the great things about Game of Thrones is there's very few characters you can go to and go, they don't have a good story arc. Most of them do. Even all the Snow kids Really do. I mean, maybe I didn't think so at one point, but they have built them up over the years. Yeah, they just do so much well on that level. But yeah, for me, it's the Peter Dinklage character. Murray Reich writes, do you think Venom can catch Justice League's box office number? No. It's been out for far too long. It's still out. It's going to make more money still. But the rate at every week that passes, the rate at which it makes money drops more and more and more and more. That's what happens with all movies. No, it's not going to hit $650 million. I think it can hit 550. It's possible it hits 550. 650 is out of reach. It's not going to reach that. Murray Reich follows it up with, season premiere of Ray Donovan was really good. Setup from last season, which was so depressing. Yeah, I love Ray Donovan. I did not love last season, though. I thought what they did with their whole season, they probably could have done in 4 episodes. And it just dragged for me. And it wasn't because it was depressing. That's fine. You can be awesome and depressing at the same time. Schindler's List, anybody. But I just thought it was badly paced. So I'm looking forward to seeing the new season. Again, I'm way behind on television, so I haven't watched the new episode of Ray Donovan, but I do like the show a lot. So I'm hoping that this season will be a step up from last season, because last season was the first one that disappointed me. All right, Santez Henderson writes, I'm going to day it, Daredevil is the best. You probably meant to say it. I'm going to say it. Daredevil is the best superhero show ever. I don't know. It's certainly in the discussion. It ranks right up there. 3 seasons, 36 episodes. I mean, it's great, though. I'm not ready to say that, but you have to include it in any conversation about it because it's just fabulous. And the 3rd season might be the best season they've ever had. Might be. I'm still not ready to say it, but it might be. So I can't argue with you, Santez. Chris Warden writes, how ironic is it that Mike Myers plays a record executive in Bohemian Rhapsody who hates the song, where in real life he threatened to quit production on the Wayne's World movie if they didn't use the song in that famous scene? Well, I don't think it's ironic. I think it was by design. I honestly think that's why, the fact that Mike Myers is the guy who made Bohemian Rhapsody relevant for a whole new generation of fans because of that scene in Wayne's World. I think that is by design that he was chosen to play that executive. I don't think it was ironic. I think it was by design. And by the way, Mike Myers has stated on several occasions that while he did say, because when they made Wayne's World, Mike Myers wanted to use Bohemian Rhapsody as the song in the car. The studio wanted him to use a modern song, so they wanted him to use a Guns N' Roses song. I think it might have even been Welcome to the Jungle. I'm not sure. But they wanted him to use a Guns N' Roses song. And he's like, no, that wasn't my experience as a kid. My experience as a kid was in the car singing Bohemian Rhapsody. I want to use it. And Mike Myers does say at some point he even said to them, if you don't let me use Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm going to walk. But he didn't really mean it, because he also tells a story about how Lorne Michaels, the head of Saturday Night Live, and he was the producer of the film, said to Mike Myers, so you're really going to walk if we don't let you? You've never had a movie career and you're going to walk off this movie if we don't let you use this song? And Mike Myers was like, good point. But ultimately, Lorne Michaels said, you know what? If it means that much to you, we'll let you use Bohemian Rhapsody. And history was made. So while Mike Myers did say that, he never really meant it. And I don't think it's ironic. I think it was really more by design, but it was beautiful. And there's a scene, I don't want to give it away. Oh, no, I can give it away because they shared this clip publicly. This is a clip that's out there publicly, so it's not a spoiler. But there's a scene where Queen is talking to Mike Myers' character, who is a record executive. And they want to release Bohemian Rhapsody as the big single for this album. Mike Myers, playing the record executive, says, no, I don't want to, blah, blah, blah. And Mike Myers says, kids need to want to hear a song that they can be in their cars and bang their heads to. You can't do that with Bohemian Rhapsody. Obviously, a reference to Wayne's World. That's all them in a car banging their heads to Bohemian Rhapsody, right? And the entire audience I was with laughed their heads off when that line came out. You got to release a single where teenagers can bang their heads in the car. You can't do that with Bohemian Rhapsody. And everybody howled. So, yeah, it was great. It was a great moment in the movie. It was a fantastic, and I loved having him in it. It was great seeing him there. Red Cap writes, John, thoughts on Hunting of Hill House? I think you mean Haunting of Hill House. I loved it. I've only seen one episode. I saw the first episode. It was quite good. Anne is up to like, oh, I can't even remember how far Anne is. Anne is pretty deep into it. Ray is deeper into it. I like the first episode. I do plan on getting caught up, but like I just finished watching Daredevil season 3. I got to get caught up on Flash. I haven't even started watching Arrow. I haven't started watching Supergirl with Sam Witwer. I haven't got caught up on a couple of the shows that I like watching, but I just haven't had the time. But I am going to get around to finishing off Hill House because I saw episode 1 and to me it was quite good. Praise Kai Yogera, who writes, do you think Kevin Feige will ever leave Marvel Studios to produce other films that aren't superhero based? I would love to see him eventually win an Oscar for his work as a producer. Well, I mean, I'd love to see him win an Oscar if he earns one. I want to see him win an Oscar if he earns one. I don't want just somebody to hand him an Oscar because he's Kevin Feige. But yeah, he'll leave Marvel someday. I mean, look, at some point, the creative itch is going to get to him. It's like, look, I've done everything there is to do with Marvel. It's time for fresh blood to come in for Marvel. It's time for a new vision to come in for Marvel. And it's time for me to do something different. That will happen at some point. Whether it happens in 2 years or in 15 years, it will happen at some point. And Kevin Feige's a young man. Like, I forget, but how old? Hold on a second. How old is Kevin Feige? Kevin Feige's 45. He's young, man. He's really young. So, yeah, at some point it will happen. At some point it will happen. Whether or not he wins an Oscar, we'll have to see. Now, for him to get an Oscar as a producer, there is no Best Producer Oscar. There is Best Picture. That's what the producer gets, is the statue for Best Picture. That could happen if he deserves it. But I'll tell you what, at some point in the future, the Academy will give Feige one of the honorary Oscars. He's going to get an Oscar at some point. The only question is, how many years will the Oscars wait to give him that honorary award? I'm guessing they'll probably wait 10, 15, 20 years, and then they'll give him one. They'll give him one for what he did, the way he revolutionized the film industry, this thing, this MCU, this juggernaut that he was the captain of and really steered and was the godfather of. At some point, they'll give him an honorary. So one way or another, he's going to have an Oscar on his mantle. Don't you worry about that, man. He's going to get one. Let's see. NPE94 writes, where did it go? NPE94 writes, went to see Venom last week and some stupid parent took 2 kids who must have been 8 years old at most. Both started crying and running down the aisles. PG-13 content doesn't equal family film. Well, I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. I've known kids I've had friends who have kids that were 8 that I totally think could have handled Venom. Not every kid can. I have no problem that somebody took an 8-year-old to a PG-13 film. I have no problem with that. Some kids can handle it. Some kids can't. I have no problem that somebody would take their kid. Here's the problem. I also have no problem with families bringing babies to movies. I have no problem with that. As long as the parents take responsibility for their kids. Look, I understand if you're a parent, you paid your money to bring your kid to a movie. Whether it's a baby or a child or whatever, that's fine. But if your kid, and I have no problem with that, but if your child starts to become a distraction to the rest of the paying customers, the responsibility and the onus is on you to remove the kid from the environment so that they don't continue to be a distraction to the rest of the audience. You are responsible for them. So I have no problem that somebody brought their 8-year-old kids. That's great. I think a lot of 8-year-old kids could have handled it. But if it becomes apparent your kids can't handle it, and they start to become a distraction, then you need to take responsibility for that and take responsibility that there's everybody else in this theater, maybe 150 other people who paid money to be in here to watch a distraction-free movie, and your kids are causing a distraction. Okay, you brought them, you tried it, great. But it didn't work. They're becoming a distraction. Parents need to take responsibility and remove them from the theater. So, NPE, I have no problem that they brought the kids. I have no problem that they brought them. However, started crying and running down the aisles. At that point, you got to take your kids out of theater, right? At that point, you got to take them out of the theater. Victor Watson writes, I have vacation day for Friday the 9th. Overlord, I'm jacked. I am looking forward to Overlord a lot. I was curious about the movie, but the more and more I watch the trailers, I'm just like, damn, this looks fun. And it totally looks like a Wolfenstein 3D, the motion picture. Doesn't it? Come on, tell me, you've got to admit you thought that at one point. The movie does look like it could be called Wolfenstein 3D, the movie. But I'm with you, man. I'm totally stoked to see it. I'm very excited to check it out. All right, Stubble McShave writes, are you planning on listening to a Wheel of Time books before the TV series starts in 2020? It only takes a bit over 17 days to listen to it. No, I'm not. As a matter of fact, I actually have a rule. If there are books I have not read and there's a movie or television series about it coming out, then I will purposefully wait to read the books until after I see the movie, because too many people read a book and they put together in their head what the movie should look like. And it's different for every person. And then instead of judging a movie on its own merits, we judge it by the pre-existing standard we created in our head. So to me, I like to watch a movie clean. I like to watch a movie clean without pre-existing expectations about what this should be and what it should not be. I just want to judge the movie on its own merits. And I find it's harder to do that if you read the book first. So I have no intention of listening to the Wheel of Time books or reading them until after the show comes out. Then I'll and I did that for instance, I did that for The Hunger Games. After I saw the movies, I read the books. Right? So that's what I'll probably do with Wheel of Time. NPE94 writes, last two questions. Saw Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven extended cut. Wow, that's an improvement on the crappy cinema release that the studio butchered. Maybe one of his best. You are not alone, NPE. First of all, you are not alone. There are a lot of people that share that opinion. So you are in good company. A lot of people share your opinion on that. I am not one of them, though. I thought, to me, it was a lot like the Batman vs. Superman extended cut. Was it an improvement? Yes. Was it a night and day improvement? I just didn't find it to be a night and day improvement. Did I think the Batman versus Superman Ultimate Cut, or whatever it's called, did I think that was an improvement over the theatrical release? Yes. Did I think it was a night and day difference? No. It wasn't. Many people, though, feel it was. So that's cool. And Kingdom of Heaven is one of those films that have a lot of people talking about it on that level. So a lot of people agree with you, NP, on that. Believe me, you are in good company. I just never found it to be the case. I think it is an improvement. I think I enjoyed the extended cut, the director's cut, a little bit better. But it's not like it changed my score. If my score was a 2, suddenly now it's a 9. Now, it wasn't like that for me personally, but that's just my own opinion. Like I said, a lot of people agree with you. And the final question today comes to us from Manny Mitsuda, who writes, end scene in Daredevil. Sorry, nope, not it's spoiler, whatever it is. I'm sure it's a spoiler, so can't talk about it. Sorry about that, man. All right, guys, that will do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of it. Don't forget, guys, the John Campea Show returns again tomorrow morning as we talk about all the great stuff going on in the world of movies and movie news. Thank you to all you guys for being here, submitting great questions, supporting the channel. I appreciate it greatly. All right, guys, it's Sunday. Have a magnificent finale to your weekend. I hope you guys had a restful, relaxing, fun, energizing weekend that sets you up to kick ass this coming week. I trust that you're going to do just that. That'll do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.